This might have just done it. This one might have just done it. The final nail in the coffin of the 2023 Yankee season. And maybe that's a bit overdramatic, or maybe the opposite. Maybe it's already been over for a while, and that's probably more likely. But in terms of symbolism-wise, Clay Holmes just implodes. The Yankees blow a 4-run lead in the ninth to the Miami Marlins, and now they are 1-8-3 in their last 12 series. So they were very close. I feel very bad for Garrett Cole. I mean, another, really, guts out a 6-inning, 2-run performance, just continues to give this team everything he has. And when I think about this, is, I think, probably the biggest gut punch. I've used that word before, but this is probably the most demoralizing loss of the season, just in terms of like pure blowing the lead late like that. I think the other two that I think about were also Sunday road Garrett Cole starts. One of them was his fault, was that one versus the Rays, which must have been back in May. I think it was in May. Yeah. Or maybe April or May. Early-ish in the season. And, Yankees had a 6-0 lead. Cole kind of implodes, and the Yankees lose that game. Then the other game that comes to mind is the series coming out of the All-Star break at the Rockies. That Sunday game, which also was a Cole start, that had, where Holmes gave up a grand slam in the eighth to C.J. Cron, and that was the game where you have, Nick Ramirez. It was just a total mess. Nick Ramirez, I think, implodes at the end, and Ron Marinaccio, and then you have this game where, Clay Holmes, who's been really, really good. I have to be fair. Clay Holmes has been very good for a while. I think he'd only allowed 3 runs, since like May 6th or something to that effect. And now he gave up 4 in this outing alone. So again, like the Yankees, like they win the first game of a series. And that's the other thing too, like I said, the Yankees early in the season, and that's been a thing for the Yankees. There's been a lot of rubber games in general. Like I keep on saying, they split the first two probably more than any other team in the league. The Yankees have only been swept, I believe, twice. And those were depressing series recaps as well, at the Red Sox and at the Angels. But just as far as, just games and rubber games, it's really the 3 I mentioned come to mind the most. Rays, Rockies, and then this Marlins one, which I think is the dagger for this team, even though I know there's, like I even admitted, when I was talking to Casey, producer, during the Astro episode, saying that like there will be ebbs and flows. Maybe I need to tell myself that, because again, like it is a long season, and you kind of, all it takes is like a little bit of a winning streak, which the Yankees are incapable of. That's the thing. It's like you're just seeing like the Yankees are simply incapable of putting on those little streaks to even get themselves back in it. So, the Yankees are in trouble. And to finish my point, the rubber games, I think that's now, don't hold me to this exact number, but I believe 6 straight rubber games they've lost now. Like they simply are not getting it done. They lose series regularly. Like I said, they're 1-8-3 in their last 12 series. That doesn't even include, like before that, they beat the Oakland A's. So again, their last 2 series wins are against Kansas City and Oakland. Like that's all you need to know right there. Like it's just simply not going to happen for this team. And now they're 2 games above 500, which they haven't fallen that far. Like they went down to 3 a bunch. I don't know about 2. I could be wrong about that. And again, the Yankees have not been under 500 at any point this season, and that will be tested against the Braves. If they get swept by the Braves, they will be under 500 for the first time all season long. And here we are in mid-August. So yeah, it's going to be tough riding out the string here the rest of the season. Look, I mean, spoiled as a Yankee fan in the sense that you're always at worst in it going down to the final wire, deep into September. This year, I do think that it's going to be a different feel. Sure, maybe you don't feel that right now because, again, like as we speak, and I'm tracking the end of, just more for factual sake, I'm tracking the end of the Mariner-Oriole game just to see how far out the Yankees are on the loss column. And that's the funny thing. The Yankees kind of are looking like they got some help this weekend. The Blue Jays are going to lose 2 out of 3. They lost 2 out of 3. The Mariners are looking like they might lose 2 out of 3. I believe that was a 3-game set with the Orioles, not a 4. But either way, like it's not as if like they aren't getting some help lately, but yet it doesn't matter. It really just doesn't. And the Yankees are just their own worst enemy. And it's always something new. It's always something new. But yeah, and again, for me, these episodes are like venting sessions, for myself. It's just, this Yankee team is really, really tough to watch. And I'm sure they are for all of you. Like I say, please like and subscribe. We're going to try to get this together, like I said. I mean, rest of the season, I'm going to continue to go through it. Maybe next season we'll consider, different ways of going about this and, having more fun with it. But I'm going to continue, for consistency's sake, for the 2023 season, to continue to go through these series, as hard as it might be. And, maybe, what I'm kind of hoping for is, maybe some prospects called up. Maybe like an Everson Pereira, maybe an Austin Wells. We've already seen Oswald Peraza. I would expect him to be one of those guys. So that can bring some level of excitement. Again, who knows? Like, those guys could fall flat on their faces, but at least it's something different. It's something that could maybe provide them just a little bit of energy, because boy, does this team need it. All right, so let's jump into it. And another injury. Nestor Cortes, who I think I had mentioned last episode that he didn't come out great out of that Astro game. The fact that he was scheduled to start a week after the last one, that wasn't good. I didn't think it'd lead to an IL situation because, he was still penciled, he was still in there, scheduled to be the starter. And then it comes out, he is going on the IL. And let me just get it right as far as the injury to Cortes. It was a left rotator cuff strain. I don't think we're going to see Nestor Cortes for the rest of the season. Like, it's not official. Is there a world in which maybe he comes back? But I think when you combine the fact that the Yankees are probably going to be out of it, they're just going to play it smart and just, I don't think we're going to see him again, this season. And that really is what potentially ends a very disappointing year for Nestor Cortes Jr. What a great story he was, really dating back to 2021. Just simply brilliant. And, ever since that last game versus the Astros last year, the game the Yankees got eliminated in, it just kind of snowballed into this year where the injuries and, yeah, I mean, some ineffectiveness as well. Although it was interesting that the last glimpse you got of Nestor was him really doing well versus the Astros. So that was a good sign to at least see that. Like, it's not as if he lost his ability, but I think injuries got the best of him. And look, I'm sure there was a bit of a regression that was due there, simply. But I think Nestor is someone that, is going to be in that rotation to start next season. You don't feel like you did going into this year. But I think for Cortes, you're just hoping that, this time off can do him well. Just an update, the Mariners have lost to the Orioles. So the Yankees sit at 4 out on the loss side. And for me, it just goes to show what a missed opportunity that it was. Not that I was confident they were going to come back, but what a missed opportunity. The Yankees just simply won today. They would have been 3 out on the loss side out of the playoffs, which is not that insurmountable. And if you could have kind of survived the Braves series, but to me, just it's what it does for you symbolically. Not even it's a missed opportunity. It's combined with you have no leeway to fuck up like this. So it makes it even more difficult in some ways, where it's almost like, if you're a Red Sox fan, the Red Sox, they are 2 out of the loss side. They're 2 games out of the Yanks. It's bad times for the New York Yankees, and I think it's only going to get worse from here. So, Randy Vasquez, who think about the rotation for a second. It's going to be Cole, Schmidt, Severino, who now is going to stay in. Severino is in for Tuesday versus the Braves, game 2. That is scary. That is very, very scary. I mean, oh my God. What do we think? 5-6 runs in the first inning? I mean, honestly, like that, I mean, whew. But anyway, Severino stays in the rotation, and now coming in is going to probably be, or likely be, Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito, who both of them at times have done the job. I think Brito more of a mixed bag, but also Brito has been in more. Vasquez we haven't seen as much as Brito, but I think that'll be good to see, right? I mean, those will be auditions for next season. So I think, in some ways, I don't hate that they're in there. I don't think it's always going to go smoothly, but then again, better than maybe than what Carlos Rodon was giving you, and he will be back probably in about a week or so if there's no setback. So he'll probably get back in the rotation, but I'm not feeling confident on that. that's another story. So Vasquez is the bulk guy, and Ian Hamilton is the opener again. So 2 starts in a row for Ian Hamilton, which is obviously a rarity to see someone start 2 games in a row. And for Hamilton, it was a good first inning, but a bad second inning. Also, an update on DJ LeMahieu. He did not play at all in the series, but it sounds like he will not go to the IL, that he will be back for the Braves series. But as I suspected with DJ, I guess I was wrong because I thought that he was going to go on the IL, and I think there was a chance of that. But it was bad enough that he did not play the series. So the lineups were fairly similar each game. Look, Aaron Judge has been out there now. Like, he's not getting off days, and he's been out in the outfield too. So he's, kind of gutting it out. And for him, I think that they should shut him down in September. If this is heading where I think it's heading, I think it's time to shut it down for Aaron Judge. But, yeah, Ian Hamilton opener. And again, this is a series versus a Marlins team that has a similar record, but is in a better situation because the National League, that third wildcard spot, is not as good as, the Blue Jays and Mariners are. But kind of for love, and here's another thing. A lot of points here to make before we get into it. Yankees are so much better versus lefties. It's just so apparent. It's not even close. Not even close. So Jesus Luzardo has had a really nice season. Good numbers, good stuff. Yankees got to him. And in this series, the Yankees got to Luzardo and right-hander Yuri Perez in Game 3. But in the middle, Sandy Alcantara pitches a complete game. Gives up 1 run in a complete game. So it's just within a series, and give Alcantara credit. I mean, he hasn't been great this year. It's kind of like a Dylan C situation, but not quite to that extreme, where like last year Alcantara won the Cy Young, and in this series he was showing his Cy Young stuff, but I'll get to that soon. Luzardo versus Hamilton, but then Randy Vasquez is the bulk guy, and the Yankees get on the board early. Anthony Volpe, the home run ball for him continues, and that's been a good sign. I'd almost rather him in the future sacrifice some home runs for just better plate discipline and a little higher average, but look, the home runs are still impressive nonetheless. And in the second inning, you get a couple of singles by Stanton and Bader. Stanton returns to Miami, and Volpe hits a 3-run homer, and that was huge. The Yankees, when they take the lead, except for Game 3, when the Yankees take the lead, they do well. When they don't take the lead, they don't do well. And that's, obvious. But I think to the Yankees, I think it's more to the extremes. Where when they're losing, it's it feels like there's no chance. And when they're winning, a lot of times it works out. Except for, like I said, this Clay Holmes just fucking epic meltdown. So the Yankees take a 3-0 lead off that. Bottom of the second, Ian Hamilton struggles. After a good first inning for Hamilton, in the second inning, he does struggle. And it's interesting because you think about the complaints as far as the last game with them bringing Severino in the second inning. Well, Hamilton did struggle in the second inning. So, it's something to keep in mind. You get a 1-out RBI triple by Jesus Sanchez, and then an RBI double by Jake Berger. Jake Berger killed the Yankees. It's funny. He gets traded for the White Sox, who beat the Yankees, and then Jake Berger on the Marlins kills them anyway. And Jake Berger, if I remember correctly, did well versus the Yankees at Yankee Stadium early in the season as a White Sox. So Berger RBI double makes it 3-2. In the third, Aaron Judge, an absolute bomb. Dead center field, 22nd homer of the year, 464 feet. Makes it 4-2 Yanks. Then in the bottom of the third, Randy Vasquez comes on. And Vasquez wasn't amazing in this outing, but it was good enough. He ends up going 3 2/3 inning and gives up 2 runs. Not bad. Not bad. Considering he was staked to a lead, and that lead was extended in the fourth after Vasquez pitched a 1-2-3 third. You have an RBI single by Oswaldo Cabrera. So Oswaldo started in this one versus the lefty over McKinney, and Oswaldo, had that RBI single. There was some other at-bats where Oswaldo did not come through, but there he does. And then you get a kind of for left RBI single. IKF with runners in scoring position is batting about 333. I think it's a little bit less than that after the series is over, but yeah, he's just a guy that comes through. Again, if you put expectations in the right place when it comes to IKF, you come out really liking the guy. It's unfortunate the way he came over here, the fact that he was the shortstop last year, but if you take that away, he's a pretty solid player. And so that gives the Yankees a 6-2 lead. And then you get a Gleyber Torres RBI single after Luzardo gets taken out. Gives the Yankees a 7-2 lead. Then in the fourth, the Marlins score a run off of Vasquez. It's an RBI double by Jake Berger. And again, like I said, he really had the Yankees number. So that made it 7-3. Let's jump to the bottom of the sixth. Josh Bell. hits a homer off of Vasquez, makes it 7-4. And then things get interesting where Loaisiga comes in. Look, Jonathan Loaisiga, in the 2 outings he's been in, looks good. Loaisiga, I think he's going to be in a very, very high leverage role in this bullpen, the way it's looking. He comes in with a runner on second and 2 out, and he gets Berger to ground out. And they were not getting him out. So good job by Loaisiga. Then he pitches a 1-2-3 7th and looked good doing so. Then at the bottom of the 8th, Tommy Kahnle comes on and does the job. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Tommy. Then in the 9th, Steven Okert, the lefty, comes on for the Marlins. You get a few runners on, and eventually a 2-run single after Bauer strikes out. And boy, Jake Bauers was bad this series. He goes 0 for 5 with 5 motherfucking strikeouts in the 3rd game. Platinum sombrero, Rizzo shit. But now we found out that Rizzo is concussed, so I won't be as mad at him about that. But Jake Bauers, I just don't like the guy. Like, nothing against him personally, just as a player. It's just not good. He's just not someone, like, next year, like, let's move away from Jake Bauers. Like, he's just a terrible fielder, strikes out way too much. And can hit lefties, but, like, he shouldn't even be in those situations. Things are so bad that he needs to be in there every day as the first baseman. So, anyway, after Bauer strikes out with the bases loaded, Higgy gets a 2-run single to give the Yankees a 9-4 lead. And again, for Higgy, like I think, all in all, as a hitter, it's been fine. It's been fine. Like, I don't know what his Yankee future holds, but, I think that he's done okay offensively compared to years past. Maybe the power not as strong, but the hits are more there. So anyway, Clay Holmes comes on in the 9th, and in this 9th, he goes 1-2-3. We will talk about Clay Holmes again, unfortunately. But the Yankees do win Game 1 9-4, a rare Friday night win, a rare first win of the series, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. Nice, good stuff. Game 2, we'll get through this one quickly. Game 2, Michael King starts, and that's an intriguing idea. Now, Michael King used to struggle as a starter, but his repertoire was a little bit different at that point, so it's a little more understandable. But King, against his actually former team, he came up as a Marlin, wasn't with them long in their organization, but the Yankees acquired, King through the Marlin system, as they also did with Herman previous to that. But it would be Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins, and he would go 9 innings and allow just 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Just shut the Yankees down. And Michael King, unfortunately, struggles, and that cost the Yanks. And it's funny, Johnny Brito did a great job, and it's funny, it's all circumstantial sometimes, right? Like, if Brito had the lead, who knows if that happens, but Brito down did a good job of keeping them in it. He ends up going 5 innings and gives up 1 run, no walk, 6 strikeouts, only 3 hits. Like, a really nice job for Johnny Brito, but unfortunately Michael King is the one that does struggle in the first inning. And right when it happened, I'm thinking, yep, we're in trouble, because when the Yankees fall behind early, it does not go well. I can't imagine the Yankees are great as far as comeback wins. Early in the year, it felt like maybe they were decent with that, and I know last year they were. But this year, I don't know what the stat is there, but the Yankees should be at best in the middle of the pack when it comes to comeback wins, which again is a weird stat anyway. But first inning, it's a 2-run homer for Luis Arraez, crushes it off of King. Just can't have that. And the Marlins take a 2-0 lead right then and there. And then Brito comes on in the 3rd after King pitches 2 innings, and Brito pitches a scoreless 3rd. And then in the 4th, you do get an RBI single by Joey Wendell, the former Tampa Bay Ray, gives the Marlins a 3-0 lead. Yankees are getting shut down. They do score a run in the 7th, and it's funny, Angel Hernandez was really, he's such a bad ump. It's, but it wasn't all anti-Yankee. Like, he was kind of squeezing Alcantara at times, and it kind of leads to a Billy McKinney walk. Then there's a balk called on Alcantara, and then Connor Falefa, the runners in scoring position machine guy, knocks the runner in, an RBI single to the opposite field, cuts the lead to 3-1, but unfortunately it would stop there, and Volpe does strike out. Again, I want Volpe to cut down on those strikeouts. That's a goal for going into next season. We jump to the 8th, and Keenan Middleton comes on, and Middleton has done a pretty decent job for the Yankees so far. Some bumps there, but mostly pretty good considering that he's a depth piece in this pen. We go to the 9th, Yankees down 3-1, and Glaber gets a single to start it out. And you're thinking, okay, Stanton's now the tying run, and Stanton strikes out. Too many just non-competitive at-bats for Stanton, but that's who he is. That's who Giancarlo is. And it's a non-competitive at-bat. Strikes out very easily, and then Billy McKinney gives the Yankees their best chance as he hits a ball deep to left, opposite field, but it only has warning track power. It does not go out. and then Connor Falefa grounds out to end it. It is a 116 pitch complete game for Sandy Alcantara. And now we go to the third game, and it's Garrett Cole on the mound, and he did his job. It was not necessarily a vintage amazing Cole outing, but it was good. And the Yankees did well versus Yuri Perez, who's a very impressive young pitcher. I did not think the Yankees would do well versus him, but they really got him out of there. And I can't kill the Yankee offense. Yeah, sure, they didn't score in the last 3 innings. You wish they could have, but they didn't. And it did cost them, but it should have never came down to that. Clay Holmes is the GOAT here. Although I look at the box score and I see Jake Bauers 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, his batting average is down to 217. He is being overplayed, and he's leading off regularly. It's not what you want. It's as Joe Girardi used to say, it is not what you want. So, Yankees take the lead in the second inning. You get a walk by Bader. He's still second, and then with 1 out, Connor Falefa RBI single gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead. And for Harrison Bader, again, I don't know what his future holds, but he's a solid, when healthy, he's a really solid player. Again, if expectations are kept in check, he's not he's not ever going to wow you completely offensively, but he does enough, plus the good defense in center field. So anyway, Connor Falefa gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead there. Then in the third, a 2-out RBI double for Giancarlo Stanton. Gives the Yankees a 2-0 lead, and Judge scores on that one. Scoring from first, which was good to see. Judge is, just fighting through it. And then in the third, unfortunately, which should have been an inning-ending double play, and the Yankee fielding in this game was certainly spotty, to say the least. It doesn't go down as an error, but Cole gets and it's funny, Josh Bell twice is the one that ends up benefiting from this in both cases. Josh Bell grounds into a force out, but it could have been a double play, but Volpe is not able to handle it. It prolongs the inning, and then Luis Arraez RBI single. Luis Arraez is such a good hitter. It's good to see him out of the American League, but was not fun to face him in this series. Makes it 2-1, but then the Yankees score in the fourth. Volpe makes up for it. It's a 2-run homer for Anthony Volpe. His 16th homer of the year makes it 4-1 Yanks. Perez is out of the game after 4 innings, which is a nice job by the Yankees to get him out of there. And then the new pitcher, Brazoban, comes on, and you get a couple of Gleyber Torres steals. Gleyber Torres' hitting streak comes to an end in this game, but he does get 3 steals in this one as well. So Gleyber, who we know is very aggressive at times, but in this game it did work out. He actually scores on a wild pitch to give the Yankees a 5-1 lead. You get a Billy McKinney RBI ground out to make it 6-1. So good stuff all around there. And then in the 6th, Ben Rortvedt gets his first home run as a Yankee. So you even get that. You got everything. Yankees are up 7-1. Cole on the mound. You're looking good. And for Garrett Cole, this is now going to be the 7th loss on the season when Cole has, when Cole has gone 6 innings or more and has allowed 2 earned runs or less. How crazy is that? 7 losses in those situations is just fucking mind-numbing. So he does give a run in the 6th. It's a RBI single by Jake Berger to make it 7-2, but that was all. Then in the 7th, Yankees, had a chance to do some more. AJ Puck comes on and strikes out Connor Falefa, so it stays 7-2. Then Wandy comes on in the 7th, does the job in the 7th inning. It's a 1-2-3 inning. And then in the 8th, Yankees don't do anything. It's the strikes out the side, AJ Puck, I believe. And then in the bottom of the 8th, the Marlins do score a run. Josh Bell leadoff walk, which you don't want, and that was Wandy. And then after a line out by Arraez, Keenan Middleton comes on and gives up an RBI double to Brian De La Cruz. And this was a play where McKinney struggles in the left field corner. You won't see it in the box score, but that actually did cause a run. And a big run, as it turned out, because then Berger strikes out and Sanchez grounds out. So, if McKinney fields it cleanly, maybe you get out of there 7-2. Instead, it's 7-3. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and Clay Holmes comes on in a 4-run game. And you're thinking, okay, this should be easy. But Yuli Gurriel, the former Astro, starts it off with a leadoff double. But then Jan Berti strikes out. So, you're, okay, this should be okay. Then Nick Fortes, with a sort of a seeing eye infield single where Volpe makes a nice job to keep it in the infield, but he can't get the out. No one's fault, just a little unlucky. And then he walks Jazz Chisholm. And that's always where Clay goes. And it wasn't like a crazy wild inning for Clay Holmes, but that walk kills you. And so now it's basically sort of 1 out. And here to me was the key play of the game. Josh Bell hits a ground ball up the middle. Holmes kind of gets a glove on it, or it kind of goes off of his his hip area, and he gets the ball, picks it up, throws to first, and it hits Bell. So not only does Holmes not field it cleanly, if he does, this could have been a double play. If somehow it doesn't hit Holmes, it could have been a double play. So many things could have happened, and you get no outs. They don't even get one out. So Holmes throws it to first, and the throw is off base, and now it is 7-5, first and third, one out. That was just a killer right there. And then Luis Ariz hits a 2-run triple down the first baseline. And I'm wondering, and again, this is maybe me being hard on Jake Bauers, but I'm wondering if Rizzo's in there, if even LeMahieu's in there, is somehow someone at least deflecting that? Maybe not. Maybe I'm dead. It was smashed. Don't get me wrong. But I don't have any faith in Jake Bauers defensively. None. And that doesn't even mention the fact that he dropped the ball earlier in the game. It didn't cost the Yankees, but wow. But anyway, this is on Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes absolutely implodes when the Yankees needed him most. And then Tommy Kahnle comes on after the game is already tied. He walks Brian De La Cruz, which is fine. Then he goes to second on defensive indifference while Jake Berger's up. They should have pitched carefully to Jake Berger. They don't. And Jake Berger gets a game-winning RBI hit. Should have pitched carefully to him. You want to force. I know you don't want to walk the winning run in, but A, Jake Berger's been killing them, and B, you really want to set up that force play. But the Yankees don't believe in intentional walks, and so that's where you are. So the Yankees lose a devastating series. I know some people have already checked out, but still, again, as I stated, the Yankees have been getting some scoreboard help lately. I mean, as it sits right now, the Yankees are, like I said before, I believe they're 4 out on the loss side. Yeah, 4 out on the loss side, which is not that crazy. They could have been 3, but that's also me being way too optimistic. This team doesn't deserve it. This is what they deserve. This is not a playoff caliber team, not even close. And under 500 could be in their future. Speaking of Yankees-Braves coming up, the league best Atlanta Braves, who, as we speak right now, sit at 75-41. I would not be surprised when it's all said and done, because they're playing the Mets tonight on Sunday Night Baseball and they're up 3-0. I would not be surprised if they end up at 76-41. The pitching matchups are as follows: Clark Schmidt versus Max Fried, which is probably your best shot at winning, which is scary. But the reason I say this is because A, Clark Schmidt's your best starter going in this series, and Clark Schmidt, I believe, is from Georgia. Yes, he is. So this should be pretty meaningful for him. I assume he grew up a Braves fan, so I hope Clark does well. Not just as a Yankee fan, but for him. And Max Fried, because he's a lefty, the Yankees do better versus lefties. So just with that logic alone, that's your best shot at winning. Game 2, let's forget about that altogether. It'll be Luis Severino versus Bryce Elder. That's a loss. And then game 3 is Randy Vasquez versus Charlie Morton, which you can't feel good about that. We know what, the troubles that Morton has given the Yankees dating back to his time with the Astros. So yeah, I think a sweep is very, very possible, if not likely, and we'll see if the Yankees can scrape out a win, and by doing so, the only thing it does there is it prevents them from going under 500. So we will find out when I speak to you guys next whether the Yankees will drop below 500. They sit at 1658. Will they get swept? Will they win a game? That's the question. Expectations are completely diminished, and this game here, I believe, is the final nail in the 2023 coffin of the New York Yankees. Clay Holmes absolutely implodes, and the Yankees lose a devastating one, and now sit at 1658. And with this series loss to the Marlins, are now 1-8-3 in their last 12 series.